Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and today we continue on our 5th installment of our character in-depth review series, where we review a very highly requested character from you guys, Kylo Ren. I made some adjustments in my character review scheduling because a lot of you asked to see him, so here is the video. The gameplay you are seeing in this video is actually provided by Doriana. Some of you may recall Doriana provides some gameplay here and there for me, and they were happy to go ahead and record Kylo Ren since they had him at 7 stars. So please, if you'd like, I will link their YouTube channel in the description. They haven't been posting videos yet, but they may create a YouTube channel strictly for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes in the future, so be sure to thank them. And before we cover Kylo Ren, let's go ahead, pull up our Hall of Fame ranking table, and see where we stand so far. In our last video, Anakin Skywalker claimed the first title in the Master category here. Where will Kylo Ren fall? Will he fall in a new category, or will he join someone else in this table here? You will soon find out. And before we cover the history of Kylo Ren, although I do not believe this will be a problem for our Star Wars community since most people saw the most recent film, but for those of you who have not seen the latest Star Wars movie, there will be a spoiler in the history here, so if you do not want to see it, please skip ahead a few minutes so you do not watch the history. But for the rest of you who are sticking around because you know the path of Kylo Ren, let's get right into it. And although the complete history of Kylo Ren is still yet to be fully discovered, it is known that he was born approximately 5 years after the Battle of Endor to both Princess Leia and Han Solo, and he was named Ben Solo. Due to the marriage issues between Leia and Han Solo, Kylo Ren felt abandoned and began developing anger issues. Leia hoped that having Luke Skywalker, her brother, train her son in the teachings of the Force would help her son, Kylo Ren, but Kylo Ren ultimately went to the dark side because of the Supreme Leader Snoke manipulating him, and he manipulated Kylo Ren to kill his fellow Jedi students as well as destroying Luke's attempt to restoring the Jedi Order. Due to his history of murdering Jedi, he quickly jumped up the ranks of the First Order as a leader, and with his obsession for his grandfather, Darth Vader, he pledged to finish what Darth Vader started, which was to completely extinguish all of the Jedi. Although he greatly wished to complete this task, he was troubled by feelings of the light side and ultimately killed his own father in hopes of relinquishing those feelings. And in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, Kylo Ren continues to carry his personality of lashing out his anger onto others, as well as his ability to fight harder when he is greatly injured. Now, how do we unlock him? Well, a few months ago, back in December of 2015, when the newest movie of Star Wars came out, there was a package for the First Order as well as for some Resistance characters, and you could have purchased Kylo Ren for a $99 package, which today is still quite debated as that is one of the most expensive packages in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes game up to date. He is also available in the Chromium pack still, and you can find him in 2 nodes in the Cantina table, which are 4C and 6C, so there are plenty of free-to-play methods to farm him, and that is the most popular way of getting Kylo Ren if he is your next character you are looking to farm. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of our in-depth reviews where we talk about the stats of the character before the mods are even integrated into the situation. Now, Kylo Ren offers a few good traits to him. One of the most popular things is that he, even though he's an attacker, he carries a lot of tank attributes. And we can see that in his health category where he is number 18, therefore being the top 20% in health. Royal Guard is at 26,768, Darth Maul at the bottom of 9,983. We see the average at 16,511, with Kylo Ren being at 21,636, which is a great number to have for an attacker. Moving on, we see he's also in the top 15% in protection. More specifically, he is number 12 in protection, with Sun Fac being the monster at 30,032. Maul yet again being at the bottom of 8,659. Average protection in this game is 15,821, and we see Kylo Ren being at 22,429. So again, very good. Moving on, he's also number 14 in physical damage, also known as the top 15% in the game. We see Cad Bane, a character we reviewed a while ago, at 2,637, Tusken Shaman at 1,150, the average is 2,104 for physical damage in this game, and we see Kylo Ren at 2,355, so yet another great stat to have. Moving on to his last pro, we find him at number 18, or also known as the top 20% for armor penetration. General Grievous being the monster at 105, Chief Nebbit sitting very low at 5, the average is 39, and Kylo Ren is at 54. So outside of those pros, he also has a couple of okay attributes. They're not horrible, they're not bad, they're not even good, but they're in the middle, which definitely is something we should point out. He is number 31 in terms of maximum damage, which is slightly above the average. We see Rey at 10,087, Rebel Pathfinder, the new character of the month, at 2,226. The average maximum damage in this game is 4,747, and Kylo Ren is at 5,157, which comes from his last attack, also known as his special ability, which we will check out later. He's also okay in the field of armor. He's about average, slightly above the average actually. Old Ben is at 393, Palpatine being the frail one at 120. Average armor in this game is 201, which puts Kylo Ren at 216, so he will be able to take some punches and he won't be taking as much damage as characters like Emperor Palpatine. Moving on to his one of his special abilities, which is his attack on everyone, also known as AoE. There are 32 characters in this game which have an AoE, and he is number 13, and which puts him slightly above the average for attack on everyone damage. Maul being the king of AoE damage at 4,994, the Pathfinder at 1,418, very bottom, and the average maximum damage for attack on everyone is 2,700. We see Kylo Ren just slightly above that average at 2,825. The last okay stat that he has, which is an attribute that is important to him due to the fact he has a variety of debuffs he can apply, is the potency, and he is right on average for potency. Dooku being the master of potency at 75,000, Sidious and Maul sitting way below at 0%. The average potency in this game is 27%, and Kylo Ren is at 27%. So nothing crazy to state there, but it is not bad, and at the same time it's not amazing. Now, moving on to the cons, and the cons that he possesses, they are quite bad in essence. Very bad to what characters should be having, at least in a decent category. In terms of speed, he is number 55. Leia and Rey being the lightning goddesses at 164. We see the Jedi Knight Guardian very slow at 85, and the average speed in this game is 122, and Kylo Ren is below that at 116. So not crazy low like Jedi Knight Guardian, however it is still quite slow compared to the rest of the characters in this game. The next thing, which is quite bad, he has one of the lowest maximum basic damage attacks in this game. And we're talking seriously bad. He's in the bottom 10% for maximum basic damage. The attack that you will be using most often is his weakest attack. He is number 86 here out of 92 characters, with General Grievous being at 6,091 basic damage, the Gamorrean Guard at 1,636, the average being at 3,849. We see Kylo Ren at 2,566. So not too far off characters like Barriss as well as Chief Nebbit, which isn't a good thing to say for an attacker. Now lastly, he relies on some very unique buffs, and you need to know if he'll be able to use them or if he'll be stunned. And when we look at tenacity, he is in the bottom 20% for tenacity. The B2 Super Battle Droids at 39%, Ahsoka Tano at 17%. The average in this game is 27%, and we see Kylo Ren at 23%. So there is a chance he could be stunned quite often before he can use his Retribution, his unique buff, or even use his special ability, which resets his cooldowns. So now that we talked about Kylo Ren's stats, let's go ahead and talk about his kit that he has, and he does offer quite interesting abilities here. His basic attack, known as Ragged Cut, deals physical damage to a target enemy with a 55% chance to inflict healing immunity for 1 turn, as well as a 75% chance to inflict damage over time for 3 turns. And this attack will deal roughly 2,322 to 2,566, and this is the low basic damage that we mentioned just a few moments ago. His next ability, called Lash Out, has quite an awesome animation, and it deals physical damage to all enemies, and he gains Retribution for 1 turn. And in case you don't know what Retribution is, since it's not a super popular buff in this game, it's essentially a unique buff that allows him to counterattack 100% of the time. And this is able to be stripped away by characters like Qui-Gon Jinn. And this will deal roughly 2,557 to 2,825 damage per person. Now moving on to the big attack which he has, it is called Outrage. And Outrage deals physical damage, and it deals 75% more damage if Kylo Ren is below 50% health. And this is where his highest dealing attack comes from, before even considering the damage bonuses he gets. And before even considering that damage bonus, he can do 4,667 to 5,157. Lastly, let's look at his unique ability, and it's called Unstoppable. And Unstoppable essentially grants him a 50% chance to reset cooldowns whenever he is damaged, so he can possibly continue to lash out or continue to use his Outrage when he is below 50% health. A few notes, which is quite interesting, is that he is the only First Order character that cannot grant himself the Advantage buff, which is a cornerstone buff that the First Order bases themselves on. And the next thing is that he oddly does not have a leader ability, despite leading many battles in the films, as well as taking the role of a leader in the latest film. Now moving on to gear requirements, how much is it going to take to get Kylo Ren up to his maximum gear, which is gear 10? Well, the good news is you can reach gear 9 without any raid gear needed, but once you reach gear 9, you will need a Mach 7 Nubian scanner and a Mach 6 Nubian tech design, which are both needed at gear 9 to bump him up to gear 10. The average raid gear in this game is about 2 to 3, with Gunray, Ugnaught, and Boba Fett oddly needing 6 pieces of raid gear for some odd reason. Now purple gear, some of the hardest gear you can get in this game, we see that he's actually slightly below the average. Sun Fact requiring 1,100 pieces of purple gear, Palpatine at the bottom only needing 260 pieces of purple gear. The average amount of purple gear is 720, and as I said, he is slightly below average, which is 710. His most popular pieces, well, you know, he actually has a diverse requirement and he doesn't need too much of a single piece. However, there is one that he does need quite often, and fortunately you can farm it through daily challenges, and that is the Mach 3 Carbanti sensor arrays. And he needs 250 pieces of those. So he definitely needs a lot of that piece, but in terms of other purple gear, it's actually a quite diverse requirement. Now, when we look at blue, green, and white gear, nothing too crazy to report here. However, he is slightly below average for each of those categories. So moving on, beyond all of that stuff, let's talk about some tips, setup recommendations, as well as some mods. The problem is that Kylo Ren does not fit too well in many aspects of this game. He especially lost purpose in Arena after protection was integrated, and we even began seeing a decrease in usage of Kylo Ren after Yoda came around, due to the fact that Yoda would steal his retribution, share it with the rest of its team, and just absolutely obliterate people who attack any of the people on Yoda's team. Even under a Phasma lead, his utility does not increase that much. Even though Phasma's leader ability grants additional potential bonus attacks from fellow First Order members, it still does not make Kylo Ren shine at all. Another thing is that his only required purpose in this game so far is he needs to be around for your offense mods on the mod challenge table. Some good things about this character is that the bot is generally smart when using him, in that he will always use his AoE the most often each time it is refreshed, which is kind of nice. He's going to keep doing his attack on everyone just from the bot using him, but still this does not make or break him. In terms of mods, this is quite a hard conversation since he doesn't excel in too much, and when he does excel in something, it's something that he really doesn't need to excel in, such as protection and health. He's a character that shouldn't have a lot of health. He's an attacker. He needs to have high damage. So one would think offense mods would help him. However, since his offense is quite low for his basic attack, the bonus that offense mods give when maxed out will not increase it by all that much. So what I would recommend, since he has an attack on everyone that could be used quite frequently, as well as his outrage ability, which could potentially be quite deadly, I would recommend tossing on critical damage and critical chance mods. The health mods are totally irrelevant to Kylo Ren. He has a lot of health already and he doesn't need more of that. He needs more damage, and critical chance mods are the way to go here. Now let's go ahead and summarize everything before we toss him on our little Hall of Fame table. And although he is categorized as an attacker, his stats reflect more of a tank. He has high health, high protection, and low speed, and these are generally the attributes of a tank. Aside from his basic, the rest of his abilities are actually quite unique and could be quite deadly if slightly reworked or slightly adjusted from critical damages and critical chance mods. However, many tanks in this game do way more damage on their basic compared to Kylo Ren. Old Ben, Barisafi, Nebit, they do just as good as him or even better than Kylo Ren, which is not good for an attacker. His basic is also not that threatening besides the fact that it has a low damage output. Applying a single damage over time is something that we do not really fret about in the days of Sunfax having almost 40,000 health after mods are considered, so that is not helping his cause. And the lack of a leader ability and the lack of strong synergy with the First Order also diminishes his utility. And to tie everything with the bow, his very low speed also continues to push his usefulness down quite a bit due to his incapability to thoroughly enjoy his unique ability, which constantly resets his cooldowns. And also to keep in mind, this was a character that people spent $99 on, and it should be a character that should be given more attention due to that premium people paid a long time ago. With all that being considered, let's go ahead, pull up the Hall of Fame. And where is Kylo Ren going to fall? Considering everything we talked about today, Kylo Ren will be placed in the Padawan category with his friend Cad Bane. Kylo Ren offers quite interesting traits. He has a lot of health, protection, all that fun stuff, but to be a useful attacker and a useful character in this game, he should be more like an Anakin Skywalker, where he has a super deadly attack on everyone, as well as the attack that gives him a 75% damage bonus, similar to how Anakin Skywalker has it. So kind of like Cad Bane, who sits in this category as well, with a rework of some sort. This guy could be quite a deadly character and quite an amazing one. So guys, let me know what you think. Did we put him in the right category here? And also let me know who you want to see next. If we have a super popular demanded character like Kylo Ren, I will definitely make that a #1 priority for you guys. And also one other thing, if you are interested, there is a Discord chat open for all of my amazing fans out there where you can join in, talk with my guild, talk amongst yourselves about these character reviews, about anything in general. So feel free to join that chat room. So to close, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to like, comment down below, share this video because it takes lots of work and I hope you guys are enjoying it. Subscribe, and we will talk again soon. Peace out.